call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. It is always lovely to see a full room of bright and shiny faces and all of these lovely kids from our preschool. We will rearrange the agenda so that the preschool presentation can go first, and then we can let you guys all head out. So you are not, you don't have to sit here and listen to the budget, which I know is everybody's favorite meeting. We are going to start with the normal public notice. Pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act, public notice of this meeting has been given by the board secretary in the following manner: posting written notice on the official bulletin board at the Voorhees Township Public Schools Administrative Building on August 4th, 2025 and February 27th, 2026, sending written notice to the Courier Post on August 4th, 2025 and February 27th, 2026, filing written notice with the clerk of Voorhees Township on August 4th, 2025 and February 27th, 2026, posting on the Voorhees Township website on August 4th, 2025 and February 27th, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the board secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Bryce?
Here.
Mrs. Munyon?
She just stepped out for a second.
Mr. Rosen? Mr. Rosner?
Here.
Mrs. Rudder?
Here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here. Smythe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mrs. Smythe? Mrs. Stewart?
Here.
Ms. Kedover?
Here.
Mrs. Watson?
Here. We will not be going to executive session in this round. We will do it later. Can I get a motion to approve the board minutes of the February 25th, 2026 regular meeting?
Second.
Right, and I'm not signing in.
Online voting is open.
So we'll see if I can get.
I'll have to voice vote.
Rosner?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mrs. Munyon?
Yes.
Mr. Rosen?
Yes.
Motion passes 8 yes, 1 abstention by Mrs. Rudder.
Okay, so we are going to skip ahead to the student presentation. So I'd like to invite Principal Lewis and Mrs. Tadley to please come up. Well, yes, Ms. Lewis will go first and Mrs. Tadley will go second. And I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Hackett, Superintendent of Schools, and Voorhees community. Each morning at the Voorhees Early Childhood Development Center, we begin the day with our building morning announcements. This is a time for our school community to come together, share important information, recite our school motto and pillars, and start the day focused and prepared to learn. Tonight, our students will give you a brief glimpse into what a typical morning sounds like in our building. As a part of this routine, the Pledge of Allegiance is included. We recognize that the pledge has already been recited this evening. At this time, I would like to thank my staff, students, and families for being here this evening. I will now turn it over to Ms. Cardente, our building social worker, Ms. Cipollone, one of our pre-K teachers in her class, to share our school's morning announcement routine.
Good evening, Voorhees board members and families. My name is Kate Denise Cardente, the school social worker here at Voorhees Early Childhood Development Center. We are going to reenact our morning announcements. I hope you all enjoy. Good morning, ECDC Cubs. And good morning, Gibbsboro Spartans. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Can everyone please freeze and stop where you are and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Cubs, find your heart hand and put it over your chest and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we continue with our announcements, Miss Ballone's class will be singing their Welcome Friends song. Welcome friends, welcome to our school today. We are glad to be together as we learn and work and play. Come and join us, join us now to start our day. We will learn new things together and have fun all along the way. Now, let's continue with our morning announcements. If you are celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. And now, let's say our school motto together. I am enough. I am confident. I am determined. I can do it. Together we are ECDC Cubs. Thank you for being such great Cubs. And remember to be kind, responsible, and safe. Thank you, Cubs. You did a great job, and have a good evening.
We have a couple of presents for you. So will you guys stay up here? Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know how we continue the meetings after that. That was pretty exceptional. What Principal Lewis is doing with these children and the self-confidence that you are building within these kids, they're going to do amazing things in the future. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we're going to call up Principal Tadley.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Hackett. I can't believe I have to go after the preschool students. That was really, really cute, but I have my own cute kiddos here tonight. Before I call my kids up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my presentation. And any of my amazing E.T. Hamilton staff members that are here that are a part of the WIN program, I'm going to introduce them when I get to it, but you guys are welcome if you'd like to come stand up here so you can get your shout outs too. So this evening, I'm here to talk to you about the WIN program. And I'm going to talk about what WIN looks like at E.T. Hamilton. And Ms. Gumto, I might be hitting the wrong button here. Thank you. So first I want to talk a little bit about what WIN is, and then I'm going to look a little more about what WIN looks like at E.T. Hamilton School. So board members, I'm sure you have, heard us talk about, Dr. Hackett's talked about it, the WIN program here in Voorhees. So we started WIN last year, so we're in our second year of WIN, and WIN stands for What I Need. WIN is a dedicated instructional period where students receive targeted support or enrichment based on their individual learning needs. In second grade, WIN allows teachers to differentiate instruction beyond the whole group lesson. Our WIN groups meet 3 times a week for about 30 minutes a period. Students can work in small groups, partnerships, or independently during that time, depending on what's planned that week in their group. So the purpose of WIN, it's really almost, the beauty of it is it's almost as simple as it sounds, right? It's giving students exactly what they need. So it can address learning gaps, reinforce key skills. It can also provide enrichment for students who are ready to extend their learning. It uses data and teacher observations to guide the instruction, and it ensures that all students get exactly what they need to succeed. So these are some of the staff members that are involved in WIN at E.T. Hamilton, and this might look slightly different at each school. I want to start by saying WIN is something that I certainly help with at E.T. Hamilton, but I don't want to take the credit for WIN. I'm here as a support. WIN really started as a district idea, and Miss Morgan and Miss Ross oversee WIN. This was really something that they helped get off the ground. They meet with the teachers in all of our schools. Like as the cycles change for WIN, they're the one overseeing it, sitting in the data meetings, supporting the teachers as they have questions. As the school principal, my role is a lot of supporting the teachers and also building a schedule that allows all the staff members involved to be available for the WIN period. So the staff members involved, on the left-hand side here, we have Morgan Burns, Caitlin Greenwood, Alyssa Pinto, and Stacy Reeve. They are all here tonight. This is my amazing second grade team. They do deserve a round of applause. They took on a big challenge. This was something new, and in the beginning there were some kinks to work out, and we had to kind of decide what worked, what didn't work, what had to be tweaked, and they have been such troopers through the whole thing because they've seen the success of WIN. So I really appreciate their patience and their hard work to get this off the ground. They've literally never complained about it. It's been so positive, and I'm so appreciative for them. Supporting them on the other side there, the right-hand side, not everyone could be here tonight, but Ellen Carbonaro is our reading specialist. She's a huge factor in WIN. Sandy D'Amico is our EP teacher, so she sees her EP students during this time. Kelly Gallo is a special education teacher that's new this year at E.T. Hamilton. I was able to arrange her schedule that she's free during the WIN time, so she's able to do another level of support for a small group during WIN. And Casey Stevens is our basic skills teacher. So that's all of our staff members that participate in WIN. So what does WIN look like in second grade? So the focus areas often include reading, that can be phonics, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. We have groups that focus on writing skills. The groups are flexible, which is such an amazing part of WIN. They change based on the student's progress. The instruction's targeted, intentional, and responsive. So a big question is, how do the students get placed into the groups? We look at quite a few things. We have a lot of data that we can use. We look at the instructional groupings in iReady. iReady gives us groups that students are placed in by their ability level, but also students that have similar learning needs, and that allows us to group them together. If we know a group of students is all kind of having a particular challenge, we can get them together and work on a skill with them. So that really helps us with our groupings. Their overall iReady diagnostic scores, the Wonders assessments, so our curriculum assessments help us, and also classroom teacher input, what they're seeing in the classroom, the informal assessments, and what's happening day to day in the classroom helps us to create our groups. So the impact of WIN, this is the best part. It promotes equity by meeting the students at their current level. It really supports academic growth for all learners, encourages student confidence and independence because they're working at their level in their small group. And it maximizes instructional time without removing students from core instruction. It's so amazing that they can get exactly what they need and they're not missing anything that's going on in their classroom at that time. We have had a lot of great feedback from all of our grade teachers, but now this year we've had great feedback from our third grade teachers that they're seeing the difference in having those students who had WIN for 1 year come up, and a lot of those learning needs have already been addressed by the time they get to third grade, which is amazing.
Hi, my name is Luke. I'm in mystery.
Sorry. I have some students that are going to talk to you tonight, but first, we have a few virtual students who recorded something. We asked them to tell us a little bit about what they do in WIN and what they like about WIN. So here's a couple of our second graders.
I like learning about morphology. Morphology is the structure of words, and it helps me get better at reading.
My name is Addie, and I am in Miss Stevens' WIN group. I like WIN because I like learning new words.
My name is Ellen McKibben, and I am in Miss Gallo's WIN class. And the thing that I love about it in WIN is I have a teacher that is very kind and helps me with work.
Hi, I'm Oakland, and I'm in Miss Greenwood's class. I love when we go and have buddies, and I love learning new words with my partner.
My name is Jordan, and I'm in Mrs. Stevens' WIN group. I like WIN because I learned things that I don't normally learn in class.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I'm in Miss Reed's WIN group, and I like reading the chapter book Goonie Boot Green because it helps me read big words. It helps me understand the story better and how the character is thinking and feeling.
Hi, I'm Emmy. I'm in Miss Greenwood's group. And what I like about WIN is that we take reviews about like spelling words in the past and stuff.
My name's Adriana. I'm in Miss Gallo's WIN group, and the thing I like about WIN is when I learn more.
Okay. And I have 5 special students here to help me tonight. So if my students come up here, I have Blake Boozer, Avery McHugh, Zane Solomon, Avery Canuck, and Luke Snyder. Come on up.
My name is Blake Boozer, and I am in Miss Pinto's WIN group. In my WIN group, we work on reading stories and ask about questions in the story. We also wrote our own stories.
My name is Avery McHugh, and I am in Miss Pinto's WIN group. In my WIN group, we work on our reading skills. First, we read a text, then we write about it. We even write our own text sometimes. Now I can use more difficult words, which helps me understand my reading. I hope others can learn from their reading mistakes too.
My name is Zane Solomon, and I'm in Miss Burns' WIN group. I work on nonfiction paragraph writing. WIN is cool because I get to meet students from other classes. WIN is one of the best parts of my day, and I hope other schools can get to do it.
Hi, my name is Avery Canuck, and I am in Mrs. Pinto's WIN group. In my WIN group, we work on Reader's Theater. Our play was named Snow Day. I performed our play for Miss Stevens' WIN group.
Hi, my name is Luke, and I'm in Mrs. Carter's WIN group. In my WIN group, we work on reading and spelling different words, and we practice sounding out all different vowel sounds. I have become a stronger writer and win.
As you can see, it really is a favorite part of the day for these kids. And I think they also touched on the really fun part that makes them feel like big kids, which they get to switch classes, which is really neat. Besides all the good academic areas, they get to go to another classroom, see different students, be with a different teacher. And that's really a neat way to mix up their day. So thank you very much. We're happy to take any questions you may have about WIN.
We are incredibly impressed and we thank you guys so much. And we have presents for all of you guys too. So
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, of course.
So last year, my son was in WIN at Crescent School, and not only did he love it, but it's such a great program, and it helped him with his reading so much. And it also is just aligned to one of the district goals. It's not often you see like a goal and like the tangible impact that like trying to meet that goal is, and this is that right now. And it's great that we have this here. So thank you. And thank you for speaking to all of us.
Good job, guys. Thank you.
We'll give you guys all some time to exit if you'd like to. Thank you so much for coming to a board meeting and sharing. Okay. I don't know how we're supposed to do work after this. I have no additional president's comments. I may make some comments at the board during the board comments, but I just have to again say thank you so much to Principal Lewis, Principal Tadley. Thank you for the presentations. I know it takes a little bit of extra work to get the kids ready and here, and it's the best part of being on the board. That is what we all look forward to the most, is basically seeing our education system in action, and it really doesn't get any better than tonight. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Fire drills and safety drills on the attached, harassment, intimidation, and bullying report also on the attached, suspensions on the attached, bus evacuation drills as shown on the attached. We have three Oprah requests, two from Mr. Forte and one from Miss Verdi. They are all, one is still open, the rest are closed. And now I'm turning it over to Ms. Haley for the board secretary report.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go up to the podium to do a presentation on the 26-27 budget.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, good evening. It's that time of year again when we get to go over the budget presentation. So I will start with this first page that shows we bridged the gap. Anyway, okay, so we'll let you know what the different steps that we went through in order to balance our budget. Step one of the budget process, we always start with the worst case scenario on the revenue side, which would be flat state aid, 2% tax levy increase, which is the amount that you're allowed to do, and revenue at last year's levels. And then the best case appropriations really is like anything that you can put in the budget, you would put in the budget. So there's no reduction to current appropriations. Anything requested is put in there. Contractual salaries are funded, and an anticipated increase in healthcare, transportation, utilities, and insurance. When we did that, unfortunately, the gap was $6.4 million, which was pretty scary at first. It's always pretty large. We have not seen it that large. Do I push the button or do you guys push the button? Oh, good, thank you. All right, step two. Okay, the next step is we started to, I usually work on the revenue side and Danielle Curie works on the appropriations expenditure side. So on the revenue side, what we did is we took a look to say, what could we increase the budget for? Meaning we do earn more interest than we budgeted. Like we would always budget about $500,000 for interest, but we earn more. So we said, let's raise it to $750,000. If you don't budget for something, it becomes surplus that you can apply to the next year or put in reserves. But we're like, we know we'll get 750, let's increase it. We also have rental income that we get at the ECDC because Gibbs Row rents 5 classrooms from us. So we budgeted for that. And also we have 2 buses that we lease out that are used on our routes, but they're leased from us by TNL Transportation. So we budgeted for that. So that increased the revenue side of the budget. And Danielle went through the appropriations expenditure side of the budget, and she reviewed every single line item and reduced wherever she could reduce based on actual results from 24-25. And then we know that we had some retirement. Sometimes you leave the retired positions in just because it's a little bit of, just cushion just in case. But she went through and removed everyone that we knew was retiring. And we have to budget for that position, for the open positions at step 1. That's what the state requires you to do. So that freed up some money on the appropriation side. And we adjusted the healthcare amount to what the insurance providers had told us it would be. That reduced the budget gap between revenue and expenditures to $3.8 million. Still not enough. Then we went on to step 3. So we knew we had to make cuts at that point, but we did not want to make, we didn't want to make any cuts that would impact instruction or district staffing. So we tried to be very, very creative to see what we could cut without hurting any programs or staffing, classroom staffing. So the appropriation cuts that we did is because our preschool program is around, I think, 290 students we estimated for, plus our providers. We're nearing nearing the universe that they want us to service. So we're allowed to move more transportation costs into preschool. Initially, there was only a small amount of money that we could fund by the PIA money. We had to fund most of it from our regular budget. But because we're at that high number, we can move more in. So we did. So we allocated more expenses. I'm just going to call it PIA to make it easier. We allocated more expenses to PIA, meaning transportation and utilities. Because the ECDC is its separate building, we can account for their utilities in that funding source. If over at Crescent, we cannot. So the grant does not allow you to prorate utilities within the building, but if it's a separate building, you can. So we put them in there. And then we have Enterprise Fund. An Enterprise Fund is our CER program and our food service. Those are run like a business. They're not funded by taxpayers. They generate their own revenue. So we allocated some utilities to them because they do use some of our utilities. The other thing we did is we do a lot of financing, like short-term financing over like 3 to 5 years for technology, HVAC, textbooks, and so forth. And some of them, again, are 3 years, some of them are 4 years, some of them are 5 years. And they're tied to the economic useful life of the item that we're financing. And we get a pretty good rate because we go out to bid typically for the rate, or if it's Apple, they give us 0% financing, which is on the agenda tonight, which it's never 0%. Like from an accounting standpoint, there's always imputed interest, so we have to disclose what it is. It comes to about 1.7 or 1.8%. Anyway, the way these loans were structured, we had very high payments this year and next year of like $1.2 million. And then it dropped off some. So I approached Apple and I said, rather than paying 4 years of equal payments, can we pay a low amount in the first 2 years and a higher amount in the second 2 years? Because that'll smooth out my payments, level my payments over the next 4 years. So instead of it being 1.2 million, 1.2 million, and then dropped to like 500 million or 700 million. It's now about 900,000 for 3 years and 700,000 in the 4th year. So that it's still over the same amount of time, but it just smooths it out. So for budgeting purposes, we don't have it like this, tying up money now that we can just pay over the life of the loan. I did approach several of the agencies that we deal with. Some just said, no, we can't do that. Some of them weren't worth doing because they dropped off next year. I'm not just going to push something to next year, but the ones that went out 2 more years, it made sense to smooth it. So I had Apple we're just going with right now. They said, sure, no problem, because this is a new agreement. And one other place said, yes, we will do it. I don't have the paperwork for that yet. That'll be on the May meeting. But nonetheless, that helped our budget because it just smoothed it out. Now going forward, if we have to finance anything in those years, we should keep that in mind to keep things level. All right, so that helped on the appropriation side. In addition, we reduced contracted vendor usage for substitute staffing and registered behavior technicians, RBTs. We have a lot of our own staff that is now being trained to be an RBT, so we could reduce some of the vendor RBTs. And last year, we started to reduce courtesy busing for kindergarten students, whereas we used to bus all kindergarten students on their own buses. And we incorporated the kindergarten students that were eligible for transportation onto the buses for 1st through 5th graders. So that was the change last year. And we said that we were going to continue to reduce courtesy busing. By the state law, anyone that lives within 2 miles of the school does not necessarily need transportation. We had been providing transportation for those students. We're going to be cutting that back. However, if somebody is living on what's considered a hazardous road by our police department, or they have to cross it and there's no crossing guard, there will still be a bus for those. So we were able to eliminate $500,000 from the budget for that. In addition, what supports that is every year we have to file what's called a DRTRS. It's a transportation report with the state. It's done every October, and there's an efficiency rating associated with it. The state wants your rating to be 100, I guess it's like 1.2 or 120%, and we're at like 0.7, which is like 70%. And that's because we had so much transportation that was not really mandated. So by doing this, it kind of makes our number better. And the state does notice, because they did bring it up to us like, oh, we had our mid-year budget review with the county, and they pointed out your rate's a little bit low. And we said, yes, we're working on that. So that helped us too. So by doing these cuts, again, it didn't impact any staff and no instruction, no programs, and it reduced the gap to 1.79 million. So then usually state aid is released the last Thursday of February, 2 days after the governor's address. But when you have a new governor, they get extra time, which they should. They get 2 extra weeks. So the governor's address was in March instead. So our state aid numbers were getting released on March 12th. So we said, you know what, let's just sit tight and see what our numbers are, because you just don't ever know where they're going to come out. There's a lot of factors involved. So when the state aid numbers were released on March 12th, we had an increase of $5,795, which is not very much. It's kind of like break even, but then it goes along with what we use. We said flat, and it came out flat. And if you read any of the articles, a lot of people had cuts, so I know local districts around here had cuts. So we're very grateful, very thankful that that didn't hurt us. And we were like right where our projection was. Again, you can't really project it, but that's our safe bet. So that 5,000 reduced our remaining gap to 1,786,725. So we're like, okay, now we really have to decide, what are we going to do about this? So on the right side of this thing is banked cap utilization. There's something built into the Department of Ed budget software, and they have things called adjustments to your tax levy. One of the adjustments is for enrollment, and another one of them is for healthcare. So if you've been reading anything about healthcare in the state, or really in all of our lives, healthcare has gone up. And there's a lot of schools that are part of the school's health insurance, school's health benefit plan, and their insurance went up 31.7%. We're part of the school's health insurance fund, which is a pooled group of school districts, and ours went up 16.27%, which is still a large number, but not anywhere near the state health benefits. So the 16.27% increase is $2,185,632. So that's pretty large. I mean, so if or the 2% tax levy would be a little over $1 million. And just with healthcare, it increased by $2,185,632. So that's pretty hard to deal with. But that's why the state builds this healthcare cost adjustment into it as an option to put that towards the tax levy. Just for comparison purposes, last year, our health in 25-26, our health benefits went up 12.44%, which was about 1.45 million. The year before was 10.26%, which was 1,034,000. So this year was a lot larger than it had been in the past. So by keying that into the state software, it calculates what your healthcare adjustment amount would be. It compares it to what the state health benefits is, and it calculates it out and says, of that 2.1 million, your adjustment could be 1,916,680. And in addition to that, we had a weighted enrollment increase of 54,574. So the total amount that would go into our banked cap is 1,971,154. So banked cap is really just a capacity. It can stay there for 3 years. You have 3 years to use it or you lose it. So we said, you know what, without impacting any staff or programs, we're going to use it this time. We didn't have this adjustment in the past other than for enrollment in 22-23 when we went to full day kindergarten. We did not use it then because we didn't need to. But at this point, because healthcare went up so much, we said that's why they built it and we're going to use it. So we utilized 1,786,725 of that healthcare adjustment. So that came out of banked cap, and we will still have 184,429 going forward to use if we so choose. Okay, the next page shows just a comparison of the adjustment for increases in healthcare. The calculation for an adjustment for last year, even though we had an increase in healthcare, it did not generate this adjustment. It was zero. But this year, it generated 1,916,680. So again, we're using the 1,786,000. On the right side, it talks about the local tax levy calculation. When the state aid pages come out on the 12th, the state always calculates what your fair share is for your township, for your school district. And it's based on equalized valuation, so your ratables in your township, on like a 3-year average with a factor associated with it. And so it looks at ratables and it looks at income. So it looks at the income in your town over 3 years averaged with a factor to it. And it says, based on all of that, your local fair share of taxes should be 61,871,474. The 2% tax levy would be 54,564,797. So we would be below their fair share by $7.3 million. 3 years ago, we were not in that situation, but as time goes by, I guess the equalized value goes up, the income goes up, and the state is saying that we could pay more. The only way you can get to that number is if you have that capacity from banked cap. So anyway, they calculate what your maximum could be, and it was 56,535,000. So even that is below the local fair share because you really can't get there in 1 year, you know. And I think last year they gave schools an ability to get there, and some schools took that ability. We did not. We stayed at the 2%. But this year we decided, in order to, because of the healthcare so much, that we will use some of our banked cap. Anyway, so by taking the 2% and adding the healthcare adjustment that would have been in banked cap of 1,786,000, that got us to 56,351,522. So we're below the local fair share that the state is saying is our fair share by 5,519,952. So we didn't go all the way by using all of our banked cap. We used some of it. Okay, so the tax impact of that, the increase is 2,856,623. So from last year's tax levy to this year, it gives us 2,856,623. So it does cover the health care. Usually that range is about $1 million. That's a 5.34% increase. The average home in Voorhees Township is assessed at $455,056. You may recall that there was a valuation done in October. So that is the new value of homes. The impact on an average home, if it was a 2% increase, would be $117.43. And the annual impact with this increased tax rate of 5.34 is $189.42, which is an increase of $71.99 over what it would have been at the 2%. So what you'll see on your agenda is on motion 16.12 is the approval of the tentative budget. So the way it works is that we do this presentation and then we have to submit the budget to the county for their review. The county reviews it. They may come back with some questions. We have a whole bunch of supporting documents we have to send to them. And then we advertise the budget and then we come back in May and we do a public hearing and we vote on the final budget. So this is considered the tentative budget to submit. The whole budget itself, the general fund budget, is up by $2,604,743, which is a 4.09% increase from last year. And again, the increase is mostly due to healthcare. The other items on here, we have to mention using the healthcare adjustment of $1,786,000. We're taking $200,000 out of capital reserve. If you take out a capital reserve, it's only used for capital projects. So it's a 1-for-1. So the $200,000 that we're taking out does not really deplete our capital reserve by very much. We want to maintain what we have in there. And we're using it for a new playground valued at about $140,000 and hard surface flooring that we're continuing to replace hard surface flooring in the district, $60,000. We're taking $454,199 out of maintenance reserve. That goes towards general maintenance, required maintenance. Emergency reserve can only be used for healthcare or safety, but we only have $91 in there, and that's really just the final amount that was interest. And we also have to always say what the travel regulations are, what we put in the budget, what we've spent. Travel is not really travel, it's really professional development, but they require us to disclose that. So that, once that is voted on, then we will submit it to the county for the review and we'll just, wait for them to say something. And then we'll be back with it again in May. Do you guys have any questions?
I do. Thank you so much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
My first is a clarification. So that increase of 5.34%, that is not to taxes writ large. That is to the portion of taxes that goes to the school,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So it's not like,
within our budget.
it's not for the whole for all of our taxes, it's just for the portion.
Right. That 5.34 is what it means within our budget. So within our budget, we went from 53 to 56. That's not necessarily what it means to the taxpayer. And again, that is the school piece, not your whole piece.
Okay. And the second is, what is the impact? So that you're talking about the increase in healthcare costs, which I think we all understand viscerally. What is the impact on the staff to that?
Okay. With the adoption of Chapter 44 several years ago, if people opted to go into Chapter 44, the calculation of their healthcare deduction was tied to their salary. So nothing changes for anybody that's in Chapter 44, nothing changes because there's a set percentage that comes out of their salary. The school district bears the brunt of the increase. Chapter 78 was different. Chapter 78 was tied to a different calculation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Superintendent report, please.
Good evening. I want to first commend ECDC and ET Hamilton. It was a great job. Please extend to your students, and I thought they were absolutely wonderful. So thank you. My report tonight is very brief. First, I want to follow up from the February 25th board meeting. There was a question asked about Thomas Reuter's Clear ID residency program. The question indicated that the program may only be used by families who have a home. But this program verifies the residency of any parent or guardian, not only those who own a home. Basically, the system confirms the address provided by the parents or guardians by cross-checking information among multiple databases. And so we are now working with the vendor to get this program up and going so that we can use it for residency verification. There was also a question asked about whether we need assistance for our staff who take care of snow removal. I think that question was asked because someone observed the use of shovels. So according to our Director of Buildings and Grounds, the district is well equipped overall to manage snow removal operations. The department currently has 3 utility vehicles. However, depending on specific conditions or locations, a shovel may occasionally be the most effective tool. And my one announcement for tonight is I am pleased to announce that 2 VMS students qualified for the state level of the Math Counts competition. This is the first time we have had students qualify in the last 5 years. So I'd like to congratulate Hanbin Liu, grade 8, and Victoria Oyang, grade 7, and the Math Counts advisor, Ms. Jessica Belko. And we wish the students the best of luck as they move into the state competition. Thank you.
Audience participation. Anyone wishing to address the board, please approach the side table on the right and write your name and address on the login sheet. While the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege, the board will now hear comments from the public relating to the items on the agenda for this board meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action this evening. You will be notified at some later time by letter, electronic mail, telephone, or in the context of a later board meeting of any action the board does take.
Good evening. My name is Major Pace Brown, retired U.S. Army, and I'm a resident of Voorhees Township, and also I have children who also attend the township as well. First, I would like to thank the Board of Education, the superintendent, the teachers for the work that goes into educating and supporting our students. I know the responsibility of running a school district is significant, and many parents appreciate that commitment. My comments tonight focus on 2 issues that matter greatly to families: parent communication and school safety. Recently, my daughter Taylor was out of school due to an excused illness absence. During that time, she missed several assignments and quizzes. When she returned, there was not a proactive communication regarding the work she missed or the time necessary to review the material before assessments were given. And negative grades were recorded for work tied directly to that absence period. I appreciate that the teacher later allowed a retake once communication occurred. However, situations like this raise a broader question about whether consistent procedures exist across the district when students miss school for legitimate circumstances. To that end, I would respectfully ask that the board for clarification on a few points. First, does the district have a formal policy requiring teachers to proactively notify parents about assignments or assessments that will or have an impact on grades after an excused absence? And if so, how is this policy implemented consistently across schools? Second, does the district have a standardized time frame for students returning from excused absences to review missed material and complete assessments before grades are finalized? And if such a policy does exist, would the board consider adopting one so our expectations are consistent district-wide? Clear communication in situations like these helps ensure students are evaluated on their knowledge and preparation rather than on circumstances outside of their control. My second area of concern relates to school safety and student well-being. Across the region, we have seen incidents where law enforcement has had to intervene in school-related situations. These events remind us that many challenges students face originate outside the classroom, but can affect the learning environment inside the classroom. With that in mind, my third question revolves around the board is whether the district could provide the community with information about early intervention programs, behavioral support systems, or counseling resources that help identify students who may be struggling with external pressures before those issues escalate into safety concerns within the school environment. I believe proactive communication with parents and early support for students are two of the most effective ways to strengthen the academic success and school safety. When communication is strong and support comes early, small problems never become big ones. And I believe that's how we protect both our students and our schools. Thank you.
And thank you for your service. Seeing no additional comments, we'll move into the business meeting statement. As we move into the business portion of our meeting, we want to recognize that it appears as if the board takes action with very little comment, and it may in many cases, a unanimous vote. Before an item is placed on the board agenda, it is thoroughly reviewed by the superintendent and administration. The superintendent then presents the recommended action to the appropriate board committee and works with the committee to ensure that the members fully understand the recommendation. Once the committee is satisfied, the item is placed on the board agenda for discussion and action at a public meeting. Board agendas are made available to the board several days in advance of the meeting, giving us ample time to review the agenda and have all of our questions answered. Further, we are kept up to date between meetings and on the ongoing work of the administration and the important issues in the district. All of these efforts ensure that we are well informed and prepared to take action in our meetings. With that said, Ms. Branch Stewart, can I have a policy committee report, please?
Certainly. Good evening. The policy committee met on March 3rd. Mr. Moskowitz and board member Crystal Munyon and I were present. The committee discussed and recommends full board approval for all policy items on tonight's agenda. There are no first read policies on this evening's agenda, so the majority of the committee times was focused on the second reads, as well as reviewing policies and regulations recommended for abolition. The committee recommends that those policies be removed because they were either specific to COVID era requirements, are no longer required under ESSA or Every Student Succeeds Act, or have been incorporated or replaced by other policies. With respect to the second reads, much of our discussion centered on our cell phone policy, formerly known as Policy 5516, use of electronic communication devices. And the committee does feel that this revision not only aligns with the requirements of the newly enacted state law, but also strikes an appropriate balance between supporting student academic performance and recognizing the practical need for parent-student communication. Our next policy meeting is currently scheduled for April 28th. Thank you.
Thank you. I get a motion to approve all of the items under policy.
So moved, Stewart.
Second, Kedover.
Online voting is open. The motion unanimously passes.
Rudder, can I get an academic excellence committee report, please?
Good evening. The Academic Excellence Committee met on Monday, March 2nd. It was myself, Julie Kedover, Allison Smythe, Jennifer Branch Stewart, Dr. Hackett, and Mr. Moskowitz. We don't have any actions that require anything to be done by the board. We did have discussion about technology use in the classroom. We talked about the schedule for NJSLA for 2026 that is upcoming. We had a conversation about the cost to live stream fifth grade graduations. We are looking into that. We have received one quote so far. And we had a discussion about the articles written about the Mississippi Miracle, where Mississippi is increasing their literacy at a very impressive rate. Our next meeting will be April 27th. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve all of the items under curriculum?
So moved, Rosner.
Second, Rudder.
Online voting is open. Motion unanimously passes.
Mr. Rosner, can I get a Personnel Committee report, please?
Yes. Personnel Committee met Thursday, March 5th at 6 p.m. In attendance, myself, Ms. Watson, Ms. Rutter, Mr. Rosen, Dr. Hackett, and Mr. Moskowitz. We discussed 2 VTEA matters. We discussed the rezoning from Hamilton to Osage. There's no action at this time for the board. We discussed a personnel matter and we discussed a litigation matter. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve all of the items under personnel as recommended by the superintendent?
So moved, Rutter.
Second, Rosner.
Online voting is open. Motion unanimously passes.
Mrs. Munyon, can I get a Finance Committee report, please?
Yes, the Finance Committee met on Wednesday, March 4th, was attended by board members Richard Rosen, Julie Cadover, Jacob Rosner, and myself, along with Ms. Haley, Ms. Carey, and Dr. Hackett. We discussed all items on the agenda under Finance, Transportation, and Building and Grounds and recommend for approval. We did the preliminary discussion of the 26-27 budget review as presented by Ms. Haley tonight. We discussed the professional services RFPs and recommended a new RFP for the auditor, but to maintain the remainder of the professional services RFPs. The RFP is in process for the food service contract, and solar conversations are ongoing with additional data being collected for review. We had a follow-up meeting tonight before the board meeting to review the finalized budget information, and our next Finance Committee meeting will be on April 29th.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve all of the items under Finance?
So moved, Rosen.
Second, Munyon.
Online voting is open. Motion unanimously passes.
I'm sorry, did you say unanimous?
Oh, I said it unanimously passes.
Motion, can I get a motion to approve all of the items under Transportation? Totally missed it.
So moved, Munyon.
Second, Stewart.
Online voting is open. Motion unanimously passes.
There are no items under Buildings and Grounds. Public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board, please approach the side table on the right and write your name and address on the login sheet. While the board is limited in its ability to respond to the public on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, and attorney-client privilege, the board will now hear comments from the public. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take action this evening. You will be notified at some later time by letter, electronic mail, telephone, or in the context of a later board meeting of any action the board does take.
Good evening. Wanted to thank Helen for taking the numbers, have no staff reduction. And I just wanted to congratulate, we had the 3 retirees, Leanne Binkley, Karen Montgomery, and Barb Andrews. But thank you.
Thank you. Comments from the board? We will be going into executive session. So I will read this part. Whereas the Open Publics Meeting Act authorizes the Board of Education To meet in executive session under certain circumstances, whereas the Open Publics Meeting Act requires the board to adopt a resolution at a public meeting to go into this private session. Now therefore be it resolved by Voorhees Township Board of Education that it is necessary to meet in executive session to discuss certain items involving number 7, matters involving anticipated or pending litigation, including matters of attorney-client privilege and specifically legal advice on the superintendent search. Number 8, matters involving personnel issues, including but not limited to the employment, appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of performance, promotion, or discipline of any public officer or employee. Be it further resolved that any discussion held by the board, which need not remain confidential, will be made public as soon as feasible. The minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Be further resolved that the board will return to open session to conduct business at the conclusion of the executive session and action may be taken, although I do not believe there could be action. Okay. I don't know if we have an estimated. Yeah, 30 minutes-ish. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved, Rudder.
Second, Rosner.
All in favor?
Okay. Can I get a motion to return from executive session?
So moved.
Oh, all right. Can I just do it that way?
I need, who did the motion?
I did the motion.
Oh, okay, sure.
You need a second. I think that was.
I said the first one.
And
So moved, Rosner.
second, Cadover.
Yeah,
Just-
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Just leave it that way.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the appointment of Hazard Young, Ataya and Associates to perform the superintendent search for a total of $21,500 upon receipt of all required paperwork to be approved by the school business administrator?
So moved. Cadover.
Second, Bryce.
I'm going to do a roll call vote. Mr. Bryce?
Aye.
Mrs. Munyon?
Yes.
Mr. Rosen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosner?
Yes.
Mrs. Rudder?
Yes.
Mrs. Smythe?
Yes.
Mrs. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Cadover?
Yes.
Mrs. Watson?
Yes.
Motion unanimously passes.
Oh, hold on. I guess I do have to close this out, huh? Okay, next meeting will be May 6th, 2026. Everybody enjoy spring break and all the holidays. And can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
So, yep. Second, Rosner.
All in favor?
Aye.